Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something a little more personal and introspective about one of Hollywood's most iconic actors, Matthew McConaughey. McConaughey is best known for his laid-back charm, soulful performances, and his ability to balance serious roles with rom-com hits. But there's one decision in his career that raised a lot of eyebrows: his choice to leave Hollywood at the peak of his fame. In this video, we'll break down why McConaughey left the Hollywood grind, how it was seen as one of the most rebellious moves in the industry, and what that decision ultimately taught us. So, let's get into it. Matthew McConaughey's rise to fame was fast and undeniable. In the late 90s and early 2000s, he was everywhere. He made a name for himself with a string of iconic roles, including his breakout performance in Dazed and Confused 1993, and the memorable rom-coms like The Wedding Planner 2001 alongside Jennifer Lopez. These films solidified McConaughey as a leading man and a heartthrob. But just when things seemed to be moving toward an inevitable Hollywood A-list trajectory, something unexpected happened. McConaughey began to fall back from the spotlight. Instead of diving deeper into the mainstream, he started pulling away, making choices that seemed uncharacteristic for an actor who was on top of the world. In interviews in his memoir, Greenlights, McConaughey describes how his decision to step away from the Hollywood machine wasn't just about personal fulfillment, it was about rejecting what the industry wanted from him. In the early 2000s, McConaughey was being pigeonholed into a specific type of role. He was the charming, easygoing guy, playing romantic leads and swooning the audience with his signature smile. But McConaughey didn't want to be boxed in. He realized that his career was following a predictable path, and as much as Hollywood was telling him what kind of roles to take, he felt a deep sense of dissatisfaction with the typecasting that was happening. He could have continued down the rom-com rabbit hole, taking on more formulaic roles, and making millions, but McConaughey wanted something deeper, something more meaningful than just making big-budget movies. This internal conflict came to a head when McConaughey reached a crucial crossroads in his career. He was offered roles in some big Hollywood films, including The Lincoln Lawyer 2011, which would later prove to be a turning point for his career. But it was his decision to step away from the spotlight for a few years that really stood out. For McConaughey, stepping away from Hollywood wasn't just about rejecting the system, it was also about reconnecting with himself. He took a break from acting and used the time to reevaluate his life and his goals. Instead of staying in LA, the epicenter of Hollywood, he moved out of the city entirely. He made the decision to live a life on his own terms, and that meant stepping away from the cameras, the studios, and the endless cycle of auditions and press tours. In interviews, McConaughey has talked about how, during this time, he traveled, spent time with his family, and did a lot of soul-searching. This self-imposed retreat gave him the mental clarity he needed to reset, away from the noise of Hollywood. It was a bold move. At a time when most actors were desperate to climb higher on the career ladder, McConaughey was taking a step back. He also credits his time away from Hollywood for making him more centered and giving him the perspective to focus on roles that were more meaningful to him. McConaughey has said that Hollywood was a place where he felt he was constantly being forced into molds, but once he removed himself from the pressure cooker of the entertainment industry, he was able to approach his career with greater authenticity. McConaughey's career didn't end when he moved away from Hollywood. In fact, it was only just beginning its next chapter. His decision to step back ultimately led to what many call the McConaugheyance, his second act as an actor, where he made some of his most iconic and acclaimed roles. In 2014, McConaughey starred in the HBO series True Detective, where he delivered a groundbreaking performance as Detective Rust Cole. This role was a departure from his previous work in romantic comedies, showcasing his range as a serious actor. His work in True Detective earned him critical acclaim, including a Golden Globe and an Emmy nomination. It was the start of a renaissance in McConaughey's career, where he found roles that resonated deeply with his evolving identity as an actor and a person. Soon after, he starred in Interstellar 2014, directed by Christopher Nolan, which cemented his place as a respected actor in Hollywood once again, but on his own terms. The projects he took on after returning from his hiatus were more diverse, introspective, and less focused on commercial success. His career was no longer defined by the pressure to be a certain kind of movie star, it was defined by the authenticity and depth of his performances. So, why was McConaughey's decision to step away from Hollywood seen as such a rebellious move? In an industry that thrives on constant visibility, it's rare for an actor at the peak of their career to intentionally fade from the limelight. In Hollywood, where fame and relevance are often tied to staying visible and continually producing hits, McConaughey's retreat was a stark contrast to the typical career path. Instead of following the typical trajectory of bigger, glossier projects, McConaughey risked it all by stepping away from the spotlight. His willingness to disrupt the expected path made him an anomaly, and in a sense, a rebel. In a world where success is often equated with constant media attention and box office hits, McConaughey chose peace and introspection over perpetual fame. That, in itself, was a radical and countercultural move. Matthew McConaughey's decision to move out of Hollywood wasn't just a career choice, it was a life choice. It was about rejecting the noise, the pressure, and the expectations placed upon him. He chose to take control of his narrative, to step off the treadmill of constant hustle, and to carve out a path that was uniquely his own. By doing so, McConaughey not only redefined his career but also offered a valuable lesson in personal authenticity. Sometimes, the most rebellious thing you can do is step away from the expectations of others and choose to live life on your own terms. For McConaughey, that decision ultimately led to his most fulfilling work, both professionally and personally. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment below with your thoughts on McConaughey's career, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind your favorite stars. Until next time, keep living your truth.